What's going on, YouTube? My name is Zach with Android Digest, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 4. And this is a folding phone that does retail for under $1,000, and you may be wondering if it is worth buying. So I have had this phone for a little over 2 weeks. I've spent a lot of time with it. I took a lot of pictures with it, so I'm happy to share my thoughts in this video. So with all that being said, let's get right into it, and let's check out the Z Flip 4. Alright, so a lot of you are really interested in foldable phones, but one of the issues with folding phones has honestly been the price. If you look at something like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4, that phone does retail right around $1,800, and honestly that is too high of a price for most people. If you look at something like the Microsoft Surface Duo 2, sure, that phone is on sale right now for $1,000, though it is selling out all over the place, but if you look at the retail price of that phone, it was around $1,500, and again, that is too high of a price for most people. But a lot of that has changed with the Z Flip 3 and now the Z Flip 4. We are seeing this folding phone under $1,000, and it's a really interesting phone, and finally, phones can be fun. You can find a phone that is really a lot of fun to use, and you could get it for a cheaper price while still getting a lot of great specs, and that's what this phone is all about. If you take a look at the design of this phone, you are going to see that this phone honestly looks amazing. Now, it looks very similar to the Z Flip 3. There's not a lot that's really different about it, except for the sides look a little bit glossier, I guess. I really just like the way the sides look on this. It makes this phone look a little more premium. But outside of that, you're not going to notice a big difference. Now, if you look at the screen of this phone, you will see a crease in the middle. And if you're looking at that, you might be a little bit worried, because if it's too noticeable, if it's really too big while you're using the phone, of course, you're going to feel it every time you're scrolling past it. You might get annoyed by it, and then you might not want to buy this phone. Well, I've got good news for you. If you compare this to the Z Flip 3, I really do feel like the crease is a little less noticeable on this Z Flip 4. Now, if you are a very picky person, you are going to notice it, and it may bother you, but honestly, after a couple days of use, I didn't really notice it, and I was really happy with it, and also I was happy with the hinge as well. The hinge on this just feels a little bit better, in my opinion, than the Z Flip 3. It's a little bit smaller, and that's a good thing, so it does make the footprint of the phone a little bit smaller, but when I was actually using this phone, I noticed that I wasn't really seeing some issues that I was with the Z Flip 3. I was noticing some odd popping sounds whenever I was using the Z Flip 3, and I had multiple models of that phone, and I still had this weird popping noise from the hinge. Well, I didn't have that with the Z Flip 4 at all. It felt absolutely great to use, so I was really happy with it. So I didn't really have a lot of issues with the design on the Z Flip 3, but they did still make a lot of good improvements on this Z Flip 4. They also did make it a little bit more durable. They claim that it's made with a little more durable of glass, and also they are claiming that the screen protector has a little bit of stronger adhesive. So that is something that is good to know if you are worried about durability. This phone should have a little bit more durability, and the screen protector will be a little less likely to peel off, at least according to Samsung. And if we take a look at this phone and the actual display and performance, you're going to see that this phone is really just a refinement of the Z Flip 3. And of course, that's true of the design as well and all types of things, but that doesn't mean that this phone isn't worth buying. On the contrary, these small refinements from the Z Flip 3 to the Z Flip 4, they really make this phone worth buying. And I really can't recommend the Z Flip 3 that much because the battery life was just so bad on that phone. But this phone does take some minor things. It really does improve on that Z Flip 3 formula, and now we are seeing a much better phone. And if you look at this display, it looks absolutely gorgeous. It is 6.7 inches in size. Of course, if you do flip it shut, you do have that really small cover screen. That's not really changed from last year's Z Flip 3, but either way, it still looks very good. It's good at just checking basic stuff. If you want to check some basic text messages or basic emails, at least you could read some notifications there. there, and you can actually take selfies with your outer camera with the rear cameras on this phone. So that's really nice that you could actually take better quality selfies on this. You can even switch it from portrait to landscape and all that right on the outside of the cover display. So this cover display does have more functionality. Of course, I'm sure some of those features will trickle down to the older models of the Z Flip, but either way, I was really happy to see that. And when I'm just using this phone day to day, it's really just a joy to use. Of course, it's very fast with that fast Snapdragon processor, and it's got 8 gigabytes of RAM, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 Plus. It is more than fast enough for your average everyday consumer. But what's beyond that performance is really just a fun phone. That's what this phone is all about. It's a phone that is meant for people who want to have a little more fun. If you're just dead tired of a boring smartphone, this phone is a little more exciting to use. One example is, of course, putting this phone in a case. A lot of these cases have cool little rings, so if you have kids and it's really hard to get around, you could just pop your phone on your finger with that ring, and it's a little bit easier to carry your phone around. And my wife actually used this phone for a couple weeks as well, and she really enjoyed how it actually fit in her pockets. A lot of guys have bigger pockets in their jeans, but girls just don't have very big pockets, so it's really nice to find a phone that could actually fit in those small spaces. And that's a really big deal even for us guys too, right? We are looking for phones that are really comfortable, that are convenient, and really just using this phone is a joy when you're talking on the phone and when you could just hang it up on someone and you could just feel that snappy click, just like when you get Pixel Buds and you're opening and closing the lid, and it just has a certain feeling to that. I can't really explain it, but there is a certain nostalgia to using a flip phone and being able to shut it and hang up on someone like that. That's a really nice thing to have, and if you're someone who wants to do that, this phone is really for you. If you're someone who wants to take pictures of your kids, granted, this phone does have a little bit of shutter lag on the camera, but it will show your kids actually what you're doing. So if you're taking a picture or if you're taking a video, you could turn on the cover display so your kids can see what's going on, so they get all excited for the picture. Before, they thought it was boring, they didn't know what's going on, but when they can see themselves in that cover screen, that really does change the story, and it does for other people too. If you are a content creator, you're wanting to film something, it's really nice that the other person on the other side of the screen, that they could see themselves as they're filming. This phone also has something called flex mode as well, so if you're in YouTube, for example, let's say you shut your phone halfway, your phone will actually hold itself up, so it's its own little tripod. So that's not only great for Zoom calls or for recording video, but if you are watching YouTube and let's say you're cleaning your house, but you want your screen to just be propped up a little bit, it's really nice that your phone can prop itself up without needing something like a kickstand or without needing a special case or a pop socket. It's nice that the utility of this phone can really give you some good value, and it really allows you to avoid all those extra accessories, and instead your phone itself, it's a really fun and cool tool to use. So this has top of the line performance overall. It's really great. I love the form factor. I love the screen. The screen looks absolutely great. It's a gorgeous OLED display. It does have a 2640 by 1080 resolution, and that is more than good enough. It looks absolutely great. And this phone can get like 1200 nits of peak brightness, and that is a lot of brightness. It's more brightness than you get in phones like the Google Pixel 6 Pro and a lot of other phones out there. So 1200 nits is more than enough brightness than your average person would ever need. Of course, it's a 120 hertz screen. This phone has really all the bells and whistles you want. The one downgrade in this phone compared to a normal phone, well, there's two downgrades. One is in the cameras and one is in the battery. Now the cameras, if you're comparing this to something like the Galaxy S22 Ultra, this is going to be a decent step down, but honestly not by that much. You would really be surprised at how good these cameras really can be, especially when you're taking pictures of kids and they can actually see themselves. That could actually help you get a really nice photo. Now Samsung is known for shutter lag. I know a lot of Samsung people would hate for me to say that, but Samsung phones do take a little bit longer to actually take a picture compared to something like a Google Pixel phone. But outside of that minor issue, I did actually really enjoy this camera. Now the Z Flip 3, this camera is a little bit better than that phone because it actually does let a little bit more light into the sensors. The sensors are a little bit larger. They are only 12 megapixel cameras. There's two of them on this phone. You really just have a wide camera and an ultra wide camera, but I took a lot of pictures of my family. I took some great videos with that phone. So this is a very good camera. It's just a step below great, right? It's not at that Galaxy S22 level, but it will be close, and that's not a bad thing. And when we look at the battery life, a lot of you are wondering how good the battery is because there's so much talk about the battery life on this phone. Well, I'm here to tell you that the battery life is much better on the Z Flip 4. First off, they did upgrade this battery to be a 3700 milliamp battery, so that is a really nice improvement over the Z Flip 3. And not only that, but you also have to look at the processor here, because this processor is much more efficient than a lot of other processors out there, and that does mean that this phone will get much better battery life. I'm really happy that Samsung did actually include a light power mode, so you can change the power mode of your phone if you actually want to get even better battery life. And when I was trying this phone on different modes, on different days, doing different things, again, I was getting between 4 and almost 6.5 hours of screen on time. So if I was on Wi-Fi all day and I was just at home, I wasn't traveling around, I would get between 5 and 6.5 hours of screen on time. And I think your average consumer will do just fine with battery life on this phone. I was very, very surprised at how long it lasted, but it is still a compromise if you're looking to go from a normal phone to this phone right here. It's still a little bit worse battery life than some other phones on the market at this price point. And if you look at overall the things like the fingerprint sensor, I love the fingerprint sensor on the power button. I love the extra features that you get and the utility. And they even added some weird features, like you could actually use the bottom part of the screen as a trackpad, so you could scroll around and have trackpad gestures and all that. So this phone doesn't have Samsung DeX, and that's a little bit of a disappointment. But outside of that, this phone just has a lot of cool features, a lot of fun features, and that's what this phone is about. If you're looking to buy this phone, and if you're wondering, should I buy it? You have to know that this phone is about fun. It's about fun and utility. This phone can keep itself up, it could prop itself up, which is a really, really cool thing. If you're recording videos, it could actually let you record while the screen is closed. You could also have your cover display on if you're taking pictures of your kids. And overall, if I'm looking at the total package of this phone and I'm wondering if I should recommend this or not, I would definitely say yes, this phone is worth recommending. However, I want to give a few quick caveats. These phones, they're losing a lot of value, and it's not because the phones are bad, it's because Samsung was giving a lot of great deals out at the launch of this phone, and also they were giving a lot of great deals out to employees who work at different retail stores. So because of that, a lot of employees were buying these phones, they were selling them online, a lot of people were getting all these great trade-in deals at the launch of this phone, and they were also looking to sell this phone for a profit. So if you see this phone online, you may be able to get a really good deal, just buy it from someone who's reputable, and you might be able to find this phone for $600 or even $700 at launch, or technically a little bit after launch, but either way, that's absolutely insane. There's a lot of great deals on this phone, so make sure to look out for those deals. So is this phone the best phone for $1,000? No. Are the specs absolutely the best for $1,000? No, but this phone is not about specs. It's about fun. It's about the experience of this phone. And there are some minor cons to it, of course. There is a screen protector that's on this phone. This phone can collect dust from time to time around that screen protector. You want to make sure to keep it clean, but eventually, you never know, that screen protector may peel off in a year or so. And this phone, it won't have quite as much durability. It does have water resistance, which is great. It does have NFC and a lot of great features like that, but this phone is not dust resistant, and you never know if this phone will wear down over time just from opening and closing so many times. We're not going to know that for sure until 2, 3, or 4 years down the line. This phone does seem pretty durable, but just keep in mind this phone will be a little bit less durable than some other phones. If you want to keep a phone for 4 or 5 years, I'm not sure I would recommend this phone. And I'm not sure I would recommend this phone if you want the fastest phone ever, or if you want the best specs ever, if you want the best camera. That's not this phone. This phone is for those people who want a fun phone with a lot of utility and a lot of coolness. They want a phone that actually fits in their pocket. They want a phone that is fashionable. And even if you're not a fashionable person, again, this phone has a lot of fun utility, and I would highly recommend this phone to a lot of you. I would just say look for some good deals. Keep in mind, though, there are some minor cons, and as long as you're okay with that, I would definitely say go for it. And again, check the links in in the description. And I have to say thank you for supporting me, not only for using links or for watching this video, but thank you as well for all of you who are subscribed to my channel and supporting me. If you're not subscribed already, feel free to click that sub button. You could also give me a like to this video. And if you want to watch any other videos, I have a ton of great videos on Android tablets, on Android devices, and on Android smartphones. I absolutely love to cover the best versions of Android all the way around. So follow my channel, check out some other videos, and if you get any other time, well, leave a comment or leave any other questions. Hope you have a great day, and I hope you enjoy your week.